Welcome to Real Flix Reviews Movie News. This week we have Jonathan Charney and James Stevens. It's the gruesome twosome.
So we want to just do a little shout out to the legend of George A. Romero. Did quite a lot of films. He's most popularly known for Night of the Living Dead, the original one from 1968. But he's also
founding father of zombie movies.
Yeah, founding father of it. He's done the Dawn of the Dead, just all basically everything that you could think of. But he passed away, and I just want to give our condolences to his. Don't remember if his wife is alive. I've got to double check that. But his family and those guys, because I mean, it really is a legend passing on. He only lived to be 77, so it's kind of young for his generation. But it was lung cancer, so he's probably a smoker.
And unfortunately, fans, he's still dead. He did not rise. So
yeah, he did not. And he actually still was married to Suzanne Dosrucker. So
I mean, that really sucks.
Credit. Yeah.
I mean, he was, you're right. He was still fairly young.
Yeah, 77. That, we usually see people going in their 90s, these 80s or 90s these days, especially in the Hollywood thing,
So this is going to be an extremely rough transition. We need some sort of happy transition music. So I did. Hurry.
There you go. Good enough.
So I did post a couple of videos on our Facebook page. Basically, it was Peter Weller. He played the original RoboCop, talking about RoboCop. One was a Q&A. I thought that was actually pretty interesting. Harry Styles in Dunkirk is just like Heath Ledger as the Joker, says Christopher Nolan. Harry Styles basically being a boy band member and or pop member. I don't know. I don't know if I could say I can't agree to this because I don't really have a horse in the race when it comes to Harry Styles in Dunkirk. I think I'm willing to give him more forgiveness versus one of my all-time favorite characters. And before we continue, I do want to say our question for this week is TV shows you never got into, and our answers coming up in a bit.
Well, I mean, I just want to throw out there, I mean, it is written and directed by Christopher Nolan, so he's done pretty well so far as far as Nolan has. I mean,
I just don't think it's the same thing, because you've got a guy who's a known entity versus a role that is more historical versus the Joker, which is one of the most famous comic book characters in history. Like right on top of Superman, Batman is the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but I'll still actually try to watch it if I remember.
Oh no, I want to see it. I just don't think it's that big of a. I don't think it's that big of a leap. I mean, Heath Ledger, at least to me, really wasn't known for all that much. I remember, he did Brokeback Mountain. He also did that Mel Gibson movie,
Patriot.
But to me, that's really it. I mean,
yeah.
I know he was in other movies, but those are the two that to me are the ones that stand out the most.
Yeah, and Mel Gibson movies, that one was actually one of his flops.
Mel Gibson's or?
Yeah, Mel Gibson's flops. Oh. Yeah, I mean, The Patriot, it was... I do got to say, though, I mean, I remember when that came out on DVD, and it was just at the beginning stages of DVDs, and you could finally do step by step by step. In that film, I did it with the cannonball scene, and it was just amazing. But, I mean, as far as the Mel Gibson films that came out at that time, The Patriot was not a good one. It wasn't his best. Which is
funny, because it's my favorite one of that era.
Really? I'm more lean towards Braveheart.
I did not. I've never been a big Braveheart. There's scenes of Braveheart I really like, but I liked the Patriot.
I just more enjoyed the Irish.
And
my island, it's mine.
And you have to be careful when you're looking up the Patriot movie, because there's two. And, well, I'm not going to spoil the fun, but you find the wrong one.
I know which one you're talking about.
You can have lots of fun going, no!
Yeah, enjoy that one.
I'm watching a fat guy.
Enjoy that one, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry. Charlize Theron is in a movie I've never heard of, or going to be. It's called Atomic Blonde. And give me a second, I'm actually loading it up. I really like her. She's not my favorite actress, but she's in some movies I like. So
yeah, I guess you could say that. There is a couple movies that she's done that were okay in my book, but she's not one of my favorite actresses. I mean, Not even close.
No, no, I don't disagree. I'm just really interested to see, what she does. Because when she's in a movie, I'm like, okay, let's see what it is. It's going to be good, going to be bad. She'll usually in movies that it's definitely I'll watch. Let's see. In one of the most anticipated films of the year, Theron plays an undercover MI6 agent, an expert in escape and evasion who travels to Berlin and starts to track down a list of double agents while investigating the murder of one of her colleagues.
Wait a minute. One of the most anticipated movies?
Yeah.
I'm not anticipating this film.
So the main question, this kind of sounds like it's a Bond crossed with a Bourne.
That's kind of what it sounds like to me. I would probably rather watch Kingsman Secret Service over that one.
Oh, I totally want to see that.
Putting that out there. Like, I didn't even know that film was even coming out. It's kind of like, to me, like the Transformers. Like, I didn't know that shit was coming out.
I've heard about it. It's kind of been it's been on the ether, as it were, for a while. I hadn't read too much about it up until recently when I found Theron was involved, or Theron, however you say it.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, so I was interested in it. So this is the only time I'm going to say this ever, so pay attention. This might be a little bit of a trigger warning. It's just up to you to take it that way. So, what do you think? Whoopi Goldberg has talked about she wants Disney to re-release some of the more controversial things. One of them being
Songs of the South.
Songs of the South, the crows in the movie like Dumbo that were singing, stuff like that. Stuff that was definitely.
So she wants them to re-release it in a piece
she wants
style?
She wants it released. So give me a second. Let me wait till it load. Basically, it sounded like she just wants to have the conversation. Because if you didn't know, and I don't know how many people follow this, it's in permanent moratorium. It will never, Songs of the South, by Disney themselves, has promised they will never release or digitally remaster Songs of the South. Because the 80s was the last time it was in theaters, and they got sued. And, shenanigans happened, whether right or wrong. It's completely up to you.
Huh. Interesting.
So here's her comment, and I quote, "You know what? I don't know if I have an all-time favorite Disney movie, but I love them. I really love them. All because they have different things, By the way, this reminds me of Naruto with all the knows. I'm trying to find a way to get people to start having conversation about bringing Songs of the South back, so we can talk about what it was and where it came from, and why it came out. I want people to start putting the crows, in the merchandising, because those crows sing the songs in Dumbo that everybody remembers." She goes on a little bit more.
That's interesting that Psycho Goldberg wants to do that. I mean, she's batshit crazy, people.
So I actually wrote this down.
I kind of agree.
And this is my opinion. My opinion is this. The movie was made in the 40s, so it's a classic movie made about the antebellum South. And I don't think there's any delicate way to approach the topic. In this movie, I think the movie was respectful, as you can be if you're talking about slavery. No, and respectful not only when it was made, but what it was about. Should it be released? Personally, I say yes. Let the market decide, let people decide. But as much as I hate to say this, I don't think it should be released now. I don't think it would get a fair release. It wouldn't get judged by its merits. No. It'd probably get judged by modern-day sensibility. And in my humble opinion, there's two ways to judge movies. Maybe three, really. But one, the era it was made. I'm talking about the technical expertise in it. I'm talking about the directing style, the film stock used. And another way to judge it is with modern-day sensibility. And the way you can do that is, you can say, okay, this is what we are today. You're going to judge a movie that honestly can be considered racist depending on how you look at it. It's a period piece in the antebellum South, and back then there was racist. You can say, well, how dare you do that? I don't think it's fair. I think you should say, yes, this has racism in it. It does. But honestly, so does the movie Roots. And Roots did it on purpose.
Yeah.
But this movie, for the time in 1946, was revolutionary. I don't think there were a whole lot of movies that overlaid live action and cartoons and did it so well.
Not at that time.
So, for once in my life, I agree with Whoopi Goldberg.
You agreed with her as whatever she was in Star Trek.
No, I forgave her because I liked that role.
Yeah, I didn't.
Um,
I don't like Whoopi Goldberg at all.
So I was really shocked, and I'm totally for it. I want it released, but I'm such afraid that people are going to judge it by today's standards too
Oh,
much.
I'm sure they will. So now I got a little bit of a discussion topic for us. So you've seen the animated films of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
Um, are you caught up all the way on them? There's a new one called Vendetta that came out this year.
No, I hadn't heard
Okay.
about it. No, is it the films?
Yeah, it's the animated ones.
Oh no, no,
Not
I
the
knew
live
about the
action.
live action. No, I didn't know there was a new one.
So yeah, there's a new one out called Resident Evil Vendetta,
Really?
and so I watched that before we did this show today, and I gotta say, I like the fact that the Asian studios picked those up and are doing them now, because of the fact that they're trying to keep that franchise alive through their animation because of how bad the Mila Jokovic, and I don't really necessarily blame Mila for the debauchery that those films turned into. I do like the first one still, and I don't blame her for making money off of it.
No, you can't. I don't blame anybody for working. I think the problem with it, honestly, is it was a money grab. There's so many of them. I think what they should have done, make 3 amazing movies, make a trilogy,
Yeah.
make it deep, make it very layered movie, and then leave it at that. But no, they kind of pulled the Aliens maneuver on it,
Yeah,
but not as beloved.
yeah, basically. So, I just want to bring up the fact of you like the animated version, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me too. So I think it's
They touched something that the live action ones never did.
Yeah.
And the games to me are boring at this point.
yeah, exactly. And one of the big issues I had with the live action ones is in the animated you can do gun fu better than you can do in live action.
Oh yeah.
Except for with Equilibrium, who did a fantastic job of gun fu. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Equilibrium.
Well, I would say
And John knows what I'm talking about when I say gun fu.
I would say that was one of the reasons why I do think something should make the transition to animated versus live action.
Yeah.
Because there's things that just do not contribute to a live action media.
Yeah,
Medium, excuse me.
and what I want to bring up on the live action versus the animation is the fact that there were sequences in the live action where they were trying to make these creatures look as big and bulky as they do in the game, which is really what it's based off of. Actually, the animated versions of Resident Evil are based off of the novels that were spun out of the Resident Evil video games. So, you didn't know that?
No, I never really
Okay.
looked into
Yeah,
it
there
that far.
were novels that were put out.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not surprised by the novels,
me
but it's
neither.
just another something I knew. But like, for example, Halo has a bunch of novels. The Deus Ex video game has novels. I think there's Assassin's Creed novels. There's Mass Effect novels.
And there's why am I drawing a blank on the Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six and
Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell. There
Great
were
books,
novels that came out outside of Tom Clancy's actual books that they were basing off. Anyways, so I wanted to see them kind of do this with Halo, which they did a little bit, but not as well. And I think they should actually go in and kind of do some of the game Halo sequences.
Wasn't Halo more of a animatrix style with different stories versus a cohesive story?
Well, there's the books about Halo too, so I think they should do more of like which they did kind of do an origin story of Halo and all that stuff of where they came from and everything. But they did a shitty job on the animated versions.
No, I'd agree with you. I really loved the first. No, it was the second book. Is the Fall of Reach.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really liked.
Yeah.
No, I'm down for that. I love Halo. I'm not a big fan of the latter games. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and I think they did a fantastic job with what they did with the Resident Evil the animated ones. I thought they did a fantastic job with them. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in it.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and more. And you can, if you have any questions, comments, or even if you have any movie news you'd love our spin on, go to facebook.com/realflixreviews. That's facebook.com/realflixreviews. Our question of the week is: what TV series couldn't you get into? Mine was Sliders. As
Really?
much as I tried to watch Sliders, I could never. I
That's
just never really enjoyed it. I never really got into it. Our
that's kind of a big surprise, actually. I figured
one
you would
of
like that one.
Jeff Michael, who was one of our co-hosts,
Yeah.
who passed away a couple of years ago. That was one of his all-time favorite TV shows, and I tried to love it. I really liked the first season of it, but after that, I just
Yeah. Huh. I like Sliders. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't. I mean, as far as, you're more into the sci-fi than I am.
I could never get into it as much as I tried.
That's surprising. For me, it was pretty much what it was is The Office. I've seen so many people like that show, and I know quite a lot of people who
I hate awkward.
good
comedy.
friends with who couldn't get into it. Well, I do like awkward comedy. I like Faulty Towers.
But yet you
I
didn't like Super? That was awkward comedy.
No, that was stupid. And it was Rainn Wilson, who's actually from The Office. Anyway, I just couldn't do it. And the fact that, I know so many people that like that one. Another one that goes along with that is Parks and Recs. I tried watching that one too, and I just couldn't get into it. And even our late deceased Jeff Michaels tried multiple times to get me in to watch Trailer Park Boys, and
I tried Trailer Park Boys. I could never get into it either.
and I could
But I
see
don't
why
like
people
comedies.
liked it. But I'm one of those people who I like those types of comedies. I liked Faulty Towers, as I brought up. I liked Seinfeld. Wings.
Seinfeld Wings wasn't awkward comedy though.
Seinfeld was basically
No.
the beginning of awkward comedy.
I wouldn't even say that. No, because Seinfeld was basically a show about nothing.
But you have George, though. George Costanza is awkward in the entire thing.
I would. No, I would say awkward comedy if you want to go that far. Maybe Night Court because of Bull.
Ooh, that's a good show. We got to pick some Night Court.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I have a question for you. What John Candy movie do you like best? Uncle Buck, Summer Rental, The Great Outdoors, Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or The Brewster Millions?
Ooh, Brewster's Millions is a good one. But John Candy role.
Yeah. Out of these 6, and this is something you can actually go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/realflixreviews and give an emoji response. And that's really hard. For me, that was really hard because I love Spaceballs. The Great Outdoors is funny. I would have to say Spaceballs. That's my favorite one of his. And Cool Runnings, but it's not on
I
here.
was that what I was gonna say as well. Cool Runnings is top of the line for me. But out of those, this might actually be a surprise because I'm wondering if people even picked this one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes. A mutual friend of ours picked it.
That bitch.
You know who it is then.
Yeah. Anyways, but I just gotta say though, out of all those, that's the one that I really enjoyed of John Candy's roles. But top of the line for me is Cool Runnings for sure. And then I'd say along with that is Spaceballs. So, but
Spaceballs is one of my all-time favorites.
yeah,
And
we'll take the soup. Hello.
check, please.
Yeah.
And one of my all-time favorite movie news, just because I think this is hilarious, Mariah Carey edited out of the house for causing a quote-unquote shit storm.
I heard about this. Is this a movie, a TV show? What is?
Hold on, I don't
House?
know.
Is it House, like the Doctor House?
No, I think it was something else.
It's gotta be
The
something.
reason I love it, because I'm forever, since I obviously read a ton of movie news, I always hear about all these people so-called being divas. I love the fact that they just say, never mind, we're cutting you out. Matter of fact, I'd love to see a director say, okay, we're scrapping the movie and refilming it just because you're such a dick. I think that's great. No more protecting actors who act like divas.
Act a fool.
Let's see. Apparently it's a Will Ferrell. Wow. Let's see. Mariah Carey was essentially evicted from the final cut of the recent flop, The House, after her diva antics caused a shitstorm on set. That's a term Will Ferrell used with Bravo host Andy Cohen. Okay, so this was apparently a flop
Oh.
movie, but I love the fact they cut her out. I mean, she's probably still getting paid, but that makes me unbelievably happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I just didn't know who that or what it was or why I would even care, because the only thing that I know of as the house would be, House MD. So I'm looking through the cast on here, and I don't see Mariah Carey even listed in the cast.
So they really cut her out.
Yeah, I mean, if you even get cut out on IMDb, that's surprising, because I mean, you got Heiko Effenberg, Amy Seddon Albert, Timothy Schuyler Dunnigan, all uncredited, and I still don't see Mariah Carey in the uncredited guys. So
I ran across a piece of movie news that I didn't read much into. I didn't really have time, and it said something about curing the Joker.
What?
Yeah. And so my guess, somebody's comment on this is a Facebook post. I'm not going to be able to find it again, but they mention how, because it's going to be kind of like an anti-billionaire thing. So the question, if they cure the Joker, is this going to be the spin of making Batman the bad guy? Which I think would be interesting. I'm not interested in a healthy Joker, but
I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, I've always been a big Joker fan,
But
thank you, Mark Hamill, but
he's more entertaining as a psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, like, is the Joker all of a sudden going to become the vigilante hunting down Batman?
I know nothing about it. I just thought it was an interesting piece of news that we can end the show on. And ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and the Missing in Action, Ryan Preston, thank you for listening.